Grief is a feeling of profound sadness that we experience when we lose someone or something significant. But did you know that grief is not just in your head? Like other emotions, grief can show up in your body in ways you might not expect. In this video, we'll cover 6 ways that grief impacts the body. How grief affects the brain. Deep inside the primitive part of the brain is the amygdala, which is the brain's control center for emotions. The amygdala has evolved to ensure our survival, and one way in which it does this is by acting like a smoke alarm that constantly monitors the environment for cues of danger. When you first hear of a significant loss, your brain can interpret this as a threat. This causes the amygdala to trigger a fight, flight, or freeze stress response, and to put the entire body on high alert so that you can escape the threat. Your breathing and heart rate increase. You might get angry, scream, run away, faint, or shut down completely, leaving you numb and unable to speak. This is not a one-off event either. Grief can last a long time, and events or memories that remind us of our loss continue to trigger the stress response, rewiring the brain and causing the amygdala to become sensitized and hypervigilant to cues of threat. Another consequence of the amygdala going into high alert is the release of stress hormones like cortisol. Cortisol also affects another area of the brain called the hippocampus, which is involved in the storage and retrieval of memories. As a consequence, grief can impact memory, concentration, and cognition. For example, you might feel forgetful, spaced out, or unable to make good decisions. The impact of grief upon the brain can be so profound that it's sometimes known as grief brain. How grief affects the heart. If you've experienced a significant loss, then you may not be surprised to learn that broken heart syndrome, also known as stress-induced cardiomyopathy, is a real medical condition. Whilst rare, broken heart syndrome tends to occur after an acutely stressful event such as a car accident, divorce, or the loss of a loved one, and can rapidly weaken the heart muscle. Although the exact cause of broken heart syndrome remains unknown, it's thought that a rapid surge of adrenaline causes narrowing of the arteries, leading to decreased blood flow and heart function. So, in effect, your heart can break from grief. Broken heart syndrome can be life-threatening, so it's vital that you seek out the care of a medical professional. The good news is that broken heart syndrome is treatable, and the heart can make a full recovery within a few days or weeks, especially for those under the care of a doctor familiar with the syndrome. How grief affects tears. It's common for people to cry during the grieving process. Crying is not unique to humans. Elephants, for example, shed tears in response to the loss of a herd member. There are 3 types of tears, with different chemical properties depending on the cause of their production. Basal tears help to keep the eyes moist and lubricated throughout the day. Reflex tears help to protect the eyes from irritants such as dust and onion vapor. Emotional tears help us to self-soothe and contain a high quantity of hormones such as leucine and kephalin, a natural painkiller that's released when the body is under stress. Shedding emotional tears triggers the parasympathetic nervous system to release oxytocin and endorphins, which can improve mood and alleviate emotional and physical pain. This is why you should not hold back your tears. How grief affects the immune system. Grief temporarily weakens the immune system, leaving it more susceptible to viruses and infection. The reason for this is not fully understood, although it's thought to be due to the release of stress hormone cortisol and suppressed levels of lymphocytes, also known as natural killer cells, which in turn increases the chances of illness or infection. Research also suggests that vaccines are less effective during the grieving process due to a decrease in the body's production of antibodies. How grief affects sleep. Grief affects both the quantity and quality of sleep. Research suggests that high levels of cortisol, racing thoughts, and dreams about a lost loved one can impact sleep and cause insomnia. Sleep is known to provide important recuperative benefits, and a lack of sleep can impact coordination, cognitive function, blood pressure and physical appearance, for example leaving you with a puffy face and eyes. For some, sleeping can provide a temporary escape from the pain of grief. However, sleeping for too long or during the day can cause you to feel more lethargic. How grief affects appetite and digestion. Grief can cause a range of physical abdominal symptoms, including nausea and stomach issues. The body's stress response slows digestion and can cause a loss of appetite. Foods may seem tasteless or taste strange. Swallowing can also be difficult. A secondary impact of lost appetite is a drop in energy levels due to vitamin and nutrient deficiencies. Conversely, you may find yourself eating more than usual, especially junk food that feels comforting. So, what can you do to cope with grief? Grief is unique to everyone, and although there is no right or wrong way to grieve, here are some examples of good self-care practices that may help you cope. Grief can be exhausting, so taking naps or engaging in replenishing activities can help you to recharge your batteries. Routines can offer an important sense of predictability, especially after something unexpected has happened. Small routines, such as eating or going to bed at the same time, can be a source of comfort and help you to feel more in control. Eating a range of fruits and vegetables and drinking plenty of water can help you to stay healthy during the grieving period. Physical activity releases endorphins that can alleviate pain and improve your mood. Even light physical activity, such as going for a walk, can reduce stress levels, anxiety, and depression, and help you to sleep better at night. Whilst you may not feel like reaching out to others or sharing your feelings, loved ones can look after you during difficult days, so it can help to lean on others for support. Relaxing activities such as art, music, or meditation can also be a good way to relieve stress. Grief can be a lifelong process and take an emotional, mental, and physical toll on the body. It can affect the brain, heart, immune system, digestion, and more, so self-care is important. When grieving, it's important to give yourself permission to feel and express your emotions, whether that's through crying, journaling, or talking to others.